everybody? Welcome to Wedding Film School Live. It is Thursday at noon, and we are back. Jade, did we have last week off? I can't remember.
I did it. I did something really amazing.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I had last week off.
Yeah, you had.
You were talking about. You were like doing the live, or not live, whatever, doing the music for a wedding film, right?
Yes, I did a. Here, let me get on camera actually, so I can. I did a very cool thing, which I think it's cool at least, which is you should go check it out if you want to see. We made a custom song out of a song for one of our couples. Basically, yeah, the brothers played a song they wrote, and so we integrated it into the arrangement, and I'm excited about it. Honestly, like, it's gonna be an amazing film. I'm so excited about that. So if you want to go check out how we did it and just some of the, I don't know, like, I play an instrument, and so if you're not a musician, you might think like, oh, I could never, I could never do that. The real truth is, you can. Like, you can, it's really about like mixing up keys and things like that. The other thing is, if you can just like, if you have GarageBand and you can open up and you click the right note and hold it, you could probably create something. And so we did some custom
sounds.
The real thing about it is just create something special for your couples that's unique to them, and that's what we did.
Love it. Well, today we are doing things a little, different topic entirely, but one that we find is very, very important. But while we let people trickle in, and before we get to the main topic, as we are kind of discussing things now, each live stream kind of outside of just the wedding film reviews, kind of an all-encompassing weekly show for you all. But while we let people get in, get settled, we are going to review a film.
Yes. Who do we got first?
So up first we have, and wouldn't you know it, he's in the comments, Trenton Foster from Film Life Moments, I believe. Let's see what Trenton has to say. Oh yeah, okay. So when I was going through and randomly picking, I saw this. I was like, oh, we got to do it. And I haven't watched it. I just saw like the intro. I was like, this is going to be unique. So what he says, this was a styled shoot with a 1950s theme. We wanted to experiment with filming an anamorphic format to complement the idea of widescreen format movies coming into existence in the 50s, as well as creating fake Super 8 footage with the use of nylon stockings on the lenses and some film stock overlays. We'd love to know what we think about the filmmaking style, the color grade, which was going for a 50s look, and the flow of the film.
Okay, sounds like a lot of ideas. So here we go.
Yeah,
let's do this. And I'm not assuming it's gonna be bad guys, but I was taking it all in. There's a lot of ideas here. So.
His face was just him thinking.
Yes.
Time I fall asleep.
Where's our groom? There he is.
Well,
So I do a lot of styled shoots, by the way. So I'm gonna judge this relatively harshly, Bobby.
Club. Yeah, you know what's interesting? I think this is gonna be a really interesting conversation. That's what I think is interesting. There you have it.
I think it's interesting is how they always will set a drink out for a styled shoot, and you have like really 1 minute for it to look good, but it'll just be ice melting and just like dress, hair and makeup.
It's the credits.
That person. Those dried things.
Freshly poured cocktails.
The ice cream cocktail? It's crazy.
All
I
right.
love that name. Okay.
I think we can start talking.
Yeah, let's do it.
If my levels are still low, let us know. Still, I move my mic closer. Also, I have a side comment. My color looks so off in this live compared to what I see.
There's like a weird compression happening on
Like
Zoom
YouTube,
today.
like let me crush your blacks and make your skin pink.
Well, and also like it looks like you have 100 pores.
Oh, I
extra
know.
on it.
This is like I have like the old man filter on or something.
I don't know what it
It's
is.
wild. I promise I look great on my own.
Do you have the maybe by accident the little Apple video effects on?
No, we've talked about that before.
I don't know. And
Yeah.
it doesn't work. It doesn't happen. It always happens on yours. It doesn't
Yeah, it's
happen
only mine.
on anyone
I don't
else's.
know. We'll
Anywho.
figure it out eventually. Just know I'm much more attractive and
He
Real
doesn't
life.
look. He looks way better. Okay, so first of all, there's a lot to like, and so I'll say all the things I like, and you can say all the things you like.
Yeah.
But then let's talk about, because I think a conversation about style shoots.
Yep.
So there's a lot of beautiful footage that looks great. I think even the handheld, the motion is good. A lot of the choices they made with even directions to shoot from, and they highlighted all the right products. You know, I think that's like the vendor team was represented in the film. You know, it's just like they kind of checked all the boxes, I would say, on what is important, and then they kind of showed off some of their skills, and I think that's kind of one of the most important parts of a styled shoot.
Yeah, so things that I liked about this, again, guys, this is kind of our normal format. If you don't typically join us, we'll watch 2 minutes of a film. We'll watch more if you are a member of the channel here. And then we talk about things we like and areas that we think they can improve. So going on things that we like, I think that there are some, like, really, like, the shooting is really solid. I do really like, so like the whole 50s theme, right? And I think we're going to kind of get into this. This is maybe not their style shoot. This is one they got asked to be a part of. So, you know, the theme might just be presented to you and you just have to deal with it. But I like that they leaned into it. I think that's interesting. I always like when people are pushing themselves. And this is really, I think, this can be one of the times to really do that with a styled shoot where, you know, you're not, it's not a couple that hired you or whatever, but there are some drawbacks to that I think Jay and I will talk about too. And yeah, so yeah, well shot, like interesting, unique, leaning into the theme in some ways. And I thought like the color was pretty good too.
Yeah, it looked pretty good. There's some spots I thought were.
Yeah, but like overall, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah, so, but going off of that, Jay, you know, one of the things I think we're going to dive into, and I think you and I are kind of on the same wavelength here, is styled shoots and really how this fits in.
Well, I'd like to hear your opinion first. Why?
Okay.
What?
As somebody who doesn't really do a lot of styled shoots.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's things that I think on that, which is that despite it, like, I like that it's good. I like that it's well shot. I like that you lean into this theme. But I also wonder, like, what is the purpose of this for you? And I think a styled shoot, you know, from my experiences and what I know from other people, there can be a variety of things. So if you got out of this that you got to collab with and, you know, really solidify some relationships with people who are going to send you work, then it doesn't really matter what the final product is, right? Like, did it check the boxes for other people? Did they like it? Great. But I also, at the same time, if what you wanted was a piece to show off in your portfolio or to try to get more work or get a bunch of exposure from shares based off of what you were creating, then I think in some ways this misses the mark. I think it's too long. And I think that it shows a lot of what a styled shoot is, which is charcuterie and 2 shots with the groom, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, I don't know that couples, if that's your goal for it, are going to latch on to that necessarily. But again, that is coming from somebody with very little style shoot experience, because I often choose not to outside of a really good team or something like that. And so let's hear from the man, Jason McCutcheon himself.
So when we do a styled shoot, we always, first of all, our goal is to make it appear like a wedding.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ever just say styled shoot, ever. I would never out that this is a styled shoot in the way that you did.
I think that everybody knows in the industry, and those are the only people who need to know.
That's my opinion, and I think like the venue was not well highlighted either, and I'm not sure if that's on purpose or whatever, but like there wasn't like this sense of place really, and I wouldn't even like the a 1950s thing. Like there's so many things about it, like what the fact that he's serving her a drink, but also this girl's making a drink. I think featuring the vendors, I would not have shown those vendors. They weren't dressed.
I almost feel like that's its own video or something.
They weren't dressed appropriately for the wedding. They didn't look. They didn't look. And I'm not trying to make fun of them. I just think like, I personally, this is just my sensibilities on weddings. I think fun is okay. I think a little casual is okay. I think this is too casual, too laid back, too. You're totally drawn out. Like there's no reason to watch it beyond just like, you should just, my opinion with the styled shoot is this should be a 60-second cut. It should look like a wedding, and everyone on the team's work should be represented really, really well. But it
should be integrated like a wedding. I think that's the thing. Like, yeah. I
mean, I could show you like so much of this stuff like that. I think,
and I think doing something like that 60-second teaser that's highly shareable, that features everybody's work, but it's not so in your face as a styled shoot, is going to get you the most, because you can still build those relationships, but you can also like benefit from it on the tail end, right? With everybody sharing it, and you can benefit from it with just being like its own self-serving piece of content that you have.
I've had so many styled shoots that have been really, really successful for all the vendors, and we never do it like that. I also think the creative, this is more of a I can't speak, I can't speak totally, but I do look and go, I think the creative direction for this was a little suspect. Like, I think the person who directed this maybe should have done a little bit. I think the direction of a 1950s video was maybe not specific enough, because it's like she has a 1950s hairstyle. Nothing about that is 1950s.
She has a rotary phone. Did you see that?
Yeah, which is not necessarily 1950s either. So it's like, it's one of those things where I just looked at it and I was like, yeah, it looks good. I think it needs to be a little more sophisticated. I think just kind of handling it in a way that it's just not as on the nose. Maybe it doesn't feel sophisticated, but there's a lot of good stuff in there. The other thing I was going to say is, I didn't like the way you featured the ice cream. It looked like it was melting. You're getting, so this is a styled shoot we did. And it's not incredible, by the way. So I'm not saying we're like so much better than you or whatever, but I feel like it checked the boxes in terms of what I was looking for.
We were testing a camera for this also, weren't we?
Yes, this was one of the first times anybody ever used the X by Lumix.
You heard it here first, and you saw it here first, maybe.
So this was one, and I don't know what's going on with the. Where is the?
This was unique for a styled shoot, though, in that they had guests, right?
We always
like,
make
not real
them,
guests.
I always
but
make them have guests.
That's cool.
Like,
Interesting tip. Interesting nugget. For
I
you
will
all.
always say, "Who is our guests?" But you notice we don't show any of.
You're not showing like the behind the scenes of the creators of the people.
No,
that went into
our goal
it.
is that it looks like a wedding. So I would recommend that you create these wedding moments with your team and get everyone on board with that kind of shoot. And we're highlighting all the stuff: the cake maker, the dressmaker, the venue. Like, bring a drone to a styled shoot. Like, you can do.
Yeah, the venue was interesting. I wondered. I think Trenton's in chat. Like, where was this a wedding venue?
No, there was. It was
felt...
in there. I saw it.
Okay.
He had said like.
Oh, it was in the like credits and with a shot. Oh yeah, I remember that shot actually.
Yeah, he had said it was in there. So I just think like. We could. Anyway,
one other interesting point. So Larev brings this up, and I would definitely agree. Well, to an extent, I guess. So Larev says, I think it's Lindsay in there, saying, I would have liked to see it with 1950s inspired music, maybe. And I think I agree with that so far as like that could definitely work. But I think the big thing for me was the music just didn't fit, I think is the more basic.
Definitely did not fit. It wasn't like, so this was a styled shoot. I think the music actually works on this one. But
I like this one a lot.
This is one where we didn't have the guests, and so we played up the detail elements, and we played up the venue and the design, and
you guys freelanced a lot.
A lot of freelancing. We were trying to create an elegant. This dress manufacturer actually picked up this, put it on her. She's Ramona Cavazza, so that's not a small dressmaker.
Literally just give me like black rooms with one big window all day long and I will be a happy camper.
So I don't think people would like necessarily think this is a real wedding, but I don't think they would think not a real wedding. And I think
but it also shows off, like, this is totally usable as a piece of content for you and your brand that you could put on your website, and a bride could be like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. I love the way this feels. I want them.
But the wedding planner loved it. And I always would say,
that's the most important.
Make it for the wedding planner. Make it for the wedding planner because they're first in line for the sales. So that's just it. I'm not saying we're like so much better or whatever than you.
No, and I think, again, it was really well shot. It's more like, it's this like theoretical conversation or
what makes an effective styled shoot? What makes it effective? And like, is it most effective? I would say it's too long. There's too much things you don't need to see. And those make it ineffective because it makes it less interesting. So I would say
ultimately,
like,
if you got work or built these great relationships, like that's what it's about.
That's what it's all about. All right. So why don't we talk really quick about 3 mistakes filmmakers make, Bobby.
Well, I don't make any mistakes, so I'm going to have a really hard time talking about this. But
with their pricing. Bobby, so when you started out, kind of where did you start your pricing?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. You're putting me on the spot here, I feel like. Okay, so I started out second shooting. I think that's important. I second shot for a few years before I did anything on my own. And so that gave me experience, but it also gave me like business sense, right? I could ask anything of this guy who I consider my mentor. Very grateful for him. So what that allowed me to do is I think I shot my first, well, you want to hear a fun story? My first wedding, my mom signed me up for a coworker of hers, did not ask me, did not discuss prices with me. I was 16, but I don't really consider this my first. And I think they paid me $200. But when I was actually doing stuff, I think my first one I charged $800 for. And then my next one was $1,250. And this was 2007-ish. And then I think I quickly worked my way to like $1,850 as a starting. And I think that was kind of like where I sat for a little while and then kind of, like gradually worked my way up at a normal pace past that.
So here's what I think a lot of times when it comes to pricing in packages. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking pricing and packaging is like the reason why they're not getting sales. And we're going to get into it because it's a journey with your pricing and packaging. Just like Bobby just said.
Oh yeah.
It's not as simple as, is it good or is it bad? Is it constructed well or and this is why you are or aren't getting sales. Good packaging and good pricing is not a replacement for good work, not a replacement for a good marketing and lead generation strategy, and not a replacement for a good website. If you don't have those three things, I would say your pricing and your packaging are, unless your pricing is a sales pitch, like you're so cheap that all that other stuff doesn't matter. I'm assuming most people don't want to be in that place, Bobby. So most people want to be, generating like interest because their work is really good and people are willing to pay more for it. So let's just assume for these reviews that we're not factoring in, is their work good? Because a lot of people, they want you to go like, hey, look at my work.
Am I worth?
Now look at my pricing.
I charge $5K? Yeah.
What do you think? Would you pay $5K for this video? And it's like, that's so relative. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like what
There's
we're
a lot
talking
of nuance to that conversation that we just can't know from just looking at a price sheet. Or
nobody can know.
website.
And if you are struggling with bookings, I would first look at those other three things. I would look at my work. I would look at my lead generation, and whether that be Instagram or people hitting your site or SEO, or do you have ads? Like, are you getting enough eyes on your work? It's like good work with people looking at it, presented well on a website that makes sense. And then at that point, it's much more important that the packages, because I think good package construction is not so much about getting a sale, but it's a maximum sale. It's a sale that creates most financial benefit for you, the artist. And it allows the customer to feel like they're getting value, but also you have more opportunities. Good package construction will do more to generate better revenue than just gross sales in general. I don't think people are necessarily looking. Now, if your stuff looks overpriced, I think we can tell that. Like if it's just really overpriced and the website can't and the work can't support it. But we want to get into just some critiques, checking out some of your pricing and packages today, maybe giving you guys some advice. But before we do that, I want to go through 3 mistakes I think people are making with their package construction that I think are really, really hurting their ability to sell stuff. And I see these mistakes all the time. So you want to get into it, Bobby, or do you have anything you want to say?
No, I think we've looked at a lot of pricing. We've done that off and on in these live streams where we've reviewed your pricing, but we've never really consolidated, like, again, these 3 things. And there's probably more, but
there's definitely more
big things that we see kind of over and over, both in the stuff we review live here, the stuff that we just individually know from our experiences and what we see in the market and other people, especially newer to the market, what they keep running into and what they keep doing that's really just shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, they're barriers to the person understanding what they're buying or feeling like they're getting value. They're just barriers. So the first one is bad math. The amount of times, and what do I mean by this? I could have said your a la carte items equal less than your packages, or they're not seeing clear value in the package construction. But I see this all the time where like you see someone set up a package and it'll be like, which I could say this bonus tip, which is don't have packages that insult your other packages. Like they'll be like
kind of the same thing though.
Bronze, gold, platinum. I hate that because I don't want a person to feel like you're a bronze person, you're a bronze medal, you're a 3rd place kind of customer. I don't want people to, I think your package names should not make a person feel poor for going with the bottom one. I think that's just meh. Not classy. I don't like it. That being said, let's imagine they have bronze, gold, platinum, or bronze, silver, gold, platinum. They have, let's say 3 packages.
3rd place client, 2nd place client, 1st place.
The bronze package has like a highlight film that you can buy on the a la carte menu for $500 plus 8 hours of coverage. Costs $2,000. The middle one is $2,200 and it has a film that they could buy for $500, a ceremony edit, and it's got $3,000 worth of edits. The other one's got $1,500, and then your top package only has another $200 of edits, but it costs $5,000 and 2 hours more coverage. And like the person's looking at it and they're like, why would I buy these packages? It doesn't make any sense. Like they're doing the math.
So when I redo my collections, and really, I'm not usually changing much within them. I'm kind of restructuring prices and just testing the waters. And one of the things I always do, because I have 3 collections, which, unironically, Jay, are called gold, silver, and bronze.
Nice.
I'll be changing that as soon as we get off this live stream. But I have these 3 collections, but I do have a handful of a la carte things available. Some of them are in collections, some of them are not. And that's the big thing that I always do, is I always check the math, because what I don't want to do is have, for example, my silver collection is all these things, and then my gold collection is all the same things plus these 2 add-ons. And I don't want it to be a scenario where the math doesn't make sense. And they're like, where it's like, okay, well, these are $500 each, but if you bump from silver to gold, it's a $1,500 increase. And they're like, well, I'll just do silver with the 2 add-ons for $500 each.
Well, and also, like, I wouldn't say you have to do this, but in my opinion, if it's a package, I think it's a little insulting to a customer if they're not getting value by buying the package. Like,
exactly.
It's good.
So for me, I believe my increase is like $850 or $900 for those 2 things that would be $1,000 a la carte.
It helps you in 2 ways, by the way. First of all, they feel good. They understand why it's constructed that way, and they will buy like whatever package that has the deliverables that they want, which we'll get to. And then they might add it on later at a higher price, and you'll make more money. And why does that cost more? It costs more money because it costs you more money to do things after the fact. It does. There's more risk you're taking on. You're like, oh shoot, did I shoot it that way? You really need people to think twice about adding on things, but not too much. You want them to be making decisions to be able to add things on. And if it costs a little
you don't want
extra,
to turn them away.
Yeah. If it costs
it's
a little
like,
extra.
Oh, it's $200 now, but it's $2,000 in a month.
Well, it's like $500 to they could do the math and say, oh, it's $250 per dance if I buy your package. But later they want to add one dance on, it costs $500. That's not ridiculous. They'll understand that.
Yeah.
And it helps
also incentivizes to book now and to add more things in, at the point of booking. And to just make that decision. But
the biggest thing is like
accordingly.
When you have to break your schedule and add an add-on and do some extra stuff, you have an incentive to do it because it's at a premium price. Okay, so that's the first one. I think bad math. I see it all the time. People whose packages I do the math and I'm like, your packages don't make any sense. So don't do that. I think the second one is selling hours, not deliverables. This is a photography strategy based on the way photographers are delivering content, which is collections. They're not editing it all together as one thing. So I think from a creative standpoint, I don't really do anything less than a full day. I just sell a full day of coverage, and you got to put it like guardrails on that just so people don't take advantage of you. Oh, full day. Okay. 20 hours.
Yeah. Mine is full day. There's an asterisk. I mean, mine literally says full day, has an asterisk, and then asterisk
defines what it is
at my discretion, which basically means there's when I really run into issues with this is for Indian weddings or multicultural weddings. And in those initial consults, I say that day is capped at 12 hours. It's an hourly rate past that.
So this is why I say selling hours and not deliverables is not a great way to structure your packages, because people don't understand the value of your time on site. And so they're not that much really willing to pay more for it. Really, because it's not like they're going to be like, with photography, every hour is probably going to net them another 100 photos.
Yeah.
Right. So they can see that. Even though I don't love that, I understand it. With filmmaking, it's not necessarily the case because you're promising them a 4-minute film either way, oftentimes. Or maybe it's a 2-minute and then you're scaling it up. But I always recommend
it's not necessarily changing.
Basing the value of your package off the deliverables. So it's like you're going to get a 4-minute film and this and this. And the next package up, you're going to get more deliverables. And the next package up, the only exception to this, I would say, is multi-day coverage. And multi-day coverage, I still don't think of you're selling hours. I think you're selling, because when I do multi-day coverage, we do a different edit that we will deliver with a multi-day wedding and rehearsal dinner, linear edits, like event edits of the rehearsal dinner toasts. So I'm still pitching like, oh, you're going to get multi-day coverage and you're going to get this extra long film plus the form. So you're going to get the 12-minute film, you're going to get the 5-minute film, and you're going to get like an extra 5 to 10 toasts because we're doing this rehearsal dinner. That person is tangibly understanding what they're getting.
So I do hours for multi-day outside of the main day. So, you know, if it's a 3-day thing, the main day is day 2, then day 1 and 3 are by the hour with a 4-hour minimum. So I'm basically guaranteeing myself a half day. And like you said, there are edits that come along with that, depending on what they are. So I'm kind of in the middle there.
There are hours, but it's just like when commercial. And I come from commercial work. In commercial work, one of the number one things they will tell you sometimes is don't sell half days, because you can't do 2 weddings. So I'm going to make you pay for my full day, and for multi-day, it's different. Again, multi-day destination is very different. Multi-day destination every day should cost more money, and I'm not saying the day doesn't cost money. I'm saying I don't negotiate that. I don't let you choose it. I'm going to sell you the hours that I am willing to make the film that I can make. So when that's the selling point on your thing, I think it's not a great selling point. I think the number one selling point is like, you're going to cover it this day and you're going to get these things. And as you get more things, you get more. And of course, if you're in the high end luxury, your brand is different. Most people who are selling these things are competing on the market with other people's deliverables.
Yeah. So I'm actually curious. So we're getting, a lot of comments and a lot of great discussion. And I'm curious if, Lindsay, if you can expand. So Lindsay's saying we prefer to place the value on our time, or I think there was something earlier, the value should be on you as a creative, and either way, not on deliverables. And so I would love for you to expand on that if you're willing to in the comments. Like, is that how you're breaking down your collections, like this many hours? I do also want to say, I think to your point, Jay, LaRev obviously kind of in
the value should be on LaRev's time, but if you're charging $2,000 and the person actually doesn't care who they're booking at that part of the market, they're literally
there's definitely something unique with LaRev or Ray Roman or
or even like Huxley Film. If I'm selling Huxley Film, I have a get out of bed price. Like, it's just like for me to be interested in showing up because I have demand and I can generate the cost. But I'm telling, like, most people, they're struggling to sell things because they're like the customer is going to be looking at your stuff and going, I'm getting more with this person though.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting less.
And another interesting thing, so there's other people saying I do hours and my creative edit, basically my highlight film, scales with those hours. So 18, 12 or whatever, and it gets longer. So that is, I mean, yes, but you're also kind of agreeing with us there. It's kind of this in between where, okay, yes, you are doing it by hours, but you are also doing the deliverable there. It's hard to kind of separate
the number one benefit to my company is that every wedding I shoot, I can make a great film.
Yeah.
And the amount of times I've seen people submit films and be like, it wasn't that good because they only had 6 hours of coverage. And I'm always like, man, wouldn't it be good for your portfolio if you were there for the whole day? Like,
so this is definitely a conversation that I don't want to say I feel strongly about, but I feel like I can speak to it, and I can speak only from my experience. Of course, I get that. And if you're doing your own business and it's working for you, however you're doing it, that's what matters. But I will say, so I've been shooting weddings for 17 years. I have done collections both ways, and I've probably done them both ways about an equal amount of time now. I think I did, 7, 8, 9-ish years as dividing by hours. So I had an 8-hour, a 10-hour, and a 12-hour collection. My highlight film did not change with those. It was the same amount regardless. I don't think anything else was really different within them. They all had a ceremony and a reception film. Then I switched. This was probably, again, 7, 8, 9 years ago. I switched to what I currently have, which is full day coverage at my discretion. And I'm separating by a 3.5-minute highlight, a 7-minute highlight, and then a 7-minute with some add-ons. And those are my 3 collections currently. And I have personally much preferred that setup. And the reason why is, like Jay said, what I found in hourly, especially as I scaled my pricing up, was that people who needed 10 hours of coverage or 12 hours of coverage would book me based on rate at 8 hours because that's all they had set aside, or, oh, well, I can still get a video and it's cheaper if I only
And then
do
they'll
8
be like,
hours.
"Oh, come late because we want more of this people
Exactly.
drinking, and you're missing a
Yep.
bunch of good content that
And
actually."
I'm making a worse video that I don't want to put out on my website. I don't want to use in my portfolio. It's not getting me more work
to save
necessarily.
2 hours.
Yeah, and what honestly ended up happening and why I really made the switch is I would just stay late or show up early because I was like, well,
Do it for free.
I want to make a better film. Exactly. And so that's why I switched. And everybody's story is different. But
My
that has worked
opinion
much
is
better
like
for
everyone's
me.
package should be linchpinned around a core deliverable that is a non-negotiable for you. That is your bread and butter deliverable, your bread and butter film. What is like your brand's core film? And our core film is a 5 to 6 minute highlight film. So this is how we do it. The first thing we will do for you is you can buy that one deliverable. We will sell you that one film. That is our highlight film. This is how little we tell you about it. We'll give you this coverage. You'll get some raw footage. You get a film. That's all you get. This one, you're going to get that, but you're going to get your toasts and speeches. That's the next thing somebody wants. They want linear cuts of their toast and speeches. You're going to get all your toast and speeches in the second package. The next one, all that stuff with a teaser, a longer film, multi-day coverage, and drone. Now, the other ones they're all add-ons. We will add like you can buy this, you can buy this, you can buy this, you can buy
Jay,
these.
What company are we looking at here? Sorry,
This is
it's a
Stop
little
Go
blurry
Love.
for
So
me.
this is
Okay, that's
just
what I
for
see.
context. This is a $10,000 price or package. This is a 58, 6,000 ish or something. Maybe no 65 now. This is like a 48. So you're going from $10,000, but the pricing scales because you're getting multiple days of coverage. You're getting this is what I mean by selling around your deliverables. Everyone who comes to our site knows I want that stuff. That's how people think. They don't think I want this many hours of coverage. They think I want to make sure I have all my toasts.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I have all my dances. Oh, I want that highlight film. And that's just, this is what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too, because I know one of the things that I've struggled with, and I think a lot of people struggle with, is like, there's this, especially in, you guys, Stop Go Love has an interesting model that a lot of people don't do, right? You have multiple teams. You are very much run as a business. I think the majority of people, right, operate as a like boutique brand, right? It's just them, or it's them and their wife or whatever, right? And so one of the things that I think people find really hard is towing that line between being a person and being a business, where they say like, well, I don't want to like charge them for their toasts or something, like they're gonna want that. Like, I don't know, like it's tough, but there are points in a business, in running your business, where you do have to think like a business and think about, well, what is the way that I can be most profitable as a business? And I don't do it that way. My toasts and ceremony are included in everything currently, but that's probably the next step for me. Is taking.
It's
those
what
out,
people. I
making
mean,
them a la carte
you as
or
a business
distinguishing.
person only have to sell what people want to buy.
Yep.
If they don't value, like we've found that people don't value Instagram teasers. They don't really value them. Most people, some will buy
it's
them.
a la carte for me.
Some will buy them, but in general, tons of people will buy their ceremony. Tons of people will buy their toasts. And so you got to sell people what they're like, but like we don't do it for every brand. Like this is what we do for Huxley Film. We don't have any packages.
Yeah.
Like
Call us.
at that price point, we do have this. Probably needs to be updated, 2023. But people just fill this out. We say what are the dates, and like I think if you're consistently pulling over 8,500 in the $10,000 range, it's okay to have packages. But I kind of think at that point maybe you're moving into more of a bespoke package.
It just won't work as well for
like
you.
Like it's you're not going to be able to even like every destination is be a different price depending on the situation you're in. So but if you're shooting local market and you have a consistent time investment for every wedding, I think you can change it. And so that's that one. Let's do the very last one.
While we get over that, I want to comment on one other comment, which is Brandon. So it looks like this kind of going back and forth about what happens if they booked you for 6 hours, they're running out of time, whatever. So Brandon's saying, I give the couple or the planner a 30-minute warning, and I have a 10-minute grace period. And here's my comment on that. I used to do that. That is a big reason why I switched. I don't know either of those people that appreciate that conversation, and I'll bet that is costing you relationships.
That's a super bad vibe. I never want to be doing that. I do
Even
have
though,
a conversation, because the conversation I have is the opposite. Hey, couple, I've already stayed a little longer than I was supposed to, and I came earlier than I was supposed to. So you know I'm awesome. But is there anything else you want before I leave? I'm leaving them with that taste in their mouth, and like they're feeling like I'm there to serve and not like I'm counting the hours. And I remember one time I got in big trouble with the planner, which I don't agree with her, by the way, but I had said like, this couple asked me to do something at their wedding. They had this special thing they wanted, and it was really late, and I hadn't covered it yet. And I was like, hey, do you guys still want that? Can we do that? Because I'm about to run at the end of my time, and I really want to make sure I'm able to capture this. So I went and actually like set a fire for them and did everything and made it happen. The couple was very offended that I said I needed to leave. Because how dare you? You're counting your hours. Like,
I hired you for 8 hours. How dare you stay?
But that's just how people are. Like, it wasn't worth the hassle.
This is my wedding.
It wasn't worth the hassle. So that's my take on that. So
anyway,
the third one and the final one is selling specs, techs, and crap couples don't value. Like, I see this so much with new filmmakers where they'll be like we said 4K because we had some people bring it up, and so that's why we said 4K. And if people stop talking about it, we're going to delete it, by the way. I think it's because we wanted to show them that the raw footage was 4K. But we don't go through and be like, I've literally seen people like say the cameras that they use on their packages, or like say that this one has more cameras that are better. Like, just like using like, I'm going to shoot this one 1080 and this one 4K. And like, I just really don't recommend that, guys. I really find that to be tacky, but also not something like, if you have to explain it to someone, it's probably not a great initial thing to be in your initial package presentation. Am I right, Bobby?
Yeah, it's just, it clogs up however you're presenting, right? A PDF or some online form or something else, right? It's going to clog that up. And again, it's just like, it's overwhelming your client. Most of them, all of them, I would almost argue, almost all of them, do not know or care about a lot of what people are putting in there. Like, especially as you work your way up, the people who are spending good money on weddings want to know, maybe do they vibe well with you, or does their planner already know you or trust you? And are you available on their date and going to do a good job? All right, you're hired. They don't care. Oh, okay, well, you're going to bring, how many cameras are you going to bring? Are you going to shoot 4K or are you going to shoot 1080?
Yeah, and you need to be able to answer the question if they ask you. Like, but I just don't think it should be like, you shouldn't make people like pay more money. Like for instance, if you're going to have more cameras, I would sell it as more filmmakers. Mm-hmm. Like, people understand having more.
Also, I don't even like that question when they're like, well, how many cameras? I'm like, well, I'm going to use what I need to use.
It's not a great question.
Be held to, like, I don't want to be held to like, oh, well, I'm going to use 4 cameras all day long or whatever. Like, I'm going to use what the situation calls for.
Well, and also, anytime you're putting in there things that are related to equipment that aren't maybe like a certain type of coverage, like, I think aerial coverage is a little different. I think like having multiple filmmakers is a little different. But say you said like this many cameras, or the cameras that do this, and like something breaks, or you change your cameras, or you decide you didn't need that feature anymore. Like, I've seen people sell frame rates.
Yeah.
Like things like that, like shot in 60 FPS or done this way. Well, if the person has if you agreed in a contract to deliver this package, you have to do it. Versus like, I'm going to cover your wedding. Trust me. Like, we don't even agree to how many cameras we're going to use to cover their ceremonies. Because it's like, whatever I want to use, like, you're going to get it. You're going to like it. So I think this is a mistake people make, because anything that causes you to have a conversation that isn't core to the couple and to, it's either got to be about, hey, how can I make you happy? What do you want? What can I do for you? Because they'll tell you, like, I really value this. I really value that. Let them tell you that stuff. Or this is my art. This is my brand. This is what you're buying, this experience with me. Those are great conversations. If the person's like, what is Google Drive? What is Dropbox? Even that, let's talk about that. Oh, delivered on Google Drive. How many people are screwed right now because of Dropbox and Google Drive changing their storage limits?
We need to make a video on that.
I know. I'm going to title it
Storage I know we talked
Apocalypse.
About it.
It's worse than
what the F is happening.
Yeah, it's worse than anything that I've been working on the problem for weeks right now. I've had so many consultations with all these brands or the storage people, and it's pretty bad. We're all about to get screwed. So enjoy that, everyone.
I just bought another 64 terabytes of storage.
Yeah, they quoted me $10,000 a month.
Sorry, physical drives for like a RAID setup.
Yep, it's bad. But yeah, luckily, like I know what I'm doing when it comes to some of this stuff, but I can imagine that certain people, it's going to be really a big problem. But anyway, like people who promise
so we have an interesting, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say that we have a really interesting comment from Adam Grumbo. I'm really curious about your take on this. He says very confidently that if you aren't using 15 cameras at least in 2023, you'll be out of business by 2024.
100%. That's, I mean, here's the truth. If you want to win Best Filmmaker of the Year, I think there's some relationship.
That's a good point.
There's some relationship between.
All I know is Best Wedding Filmmaker of the Year, use 15 cameras. Like, maybe I need to use 16.
Yeah, or you got to use like Justin Porter, like a big easy rig and like 27 lavalier mics. Like, and I will say there might be all of this to say crap couples don't value is not necessarily the same for every brand. Like, I can imagine there is a filmmaker who 12 cameras or everyone's wearing a lav might be part of their selling point. I'm not telling
you. You can build a brand around
that. Sure. Like, but if you don't want to build your brand around that, don't. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't think it's a selling point, if your couples, the people you're targeting don't value that stuff, don't present it and promise it. Like, and I would even say Adam. Like, Adam chose to do that. I don't think Adam, and maybe he charged him for it.
No, he says later. He says we usually use 4.
Yeah. Maybe he charged him for it later, but I think just in general, I don't think Adam has a package called 15 cameras.
Yeah.
Where he's promising 15 cameras. I think that's what people get into sometimes, and because you know what's best. You know how to make your films. You want to have the freedom to do it as long as they're getting in my opinion, the films that you promised to give them. Highlight films or the speeches or the ceremonies, whatever it is that you promised, you should get to make it any way you want. And I think that's the key thing. And so anyway, let's look at some packages and see, I think these are, I do understand what Lindsay and Cherish are saying. And I know in the luxury game, they will.
Yeah, I think they clarified it too. And it was a lot more to what you were saying, where it's like, look, this is our get out of bed fee.
Yes. Yes. At the top of the price range, I think things change. The game is very different in the top 1%. The average person, though, is if you're competing against other people's deliverables. And so I'm just doing for average, like most 87% of filmmakers, people are making decisions based on like, well, I'm getting more with this person. There's value, which is what do I get for what I'm paying? And there's pricing, which is can I afford it? I think that like in the mid market, it's all about value. In the bottom market, it's all about pricing. At the top of the market, it's all about exclusivity, and all that stuff kind of goes out the window. Most people, if you're in that mid, even upper mid market, you have to keep value as a consideration because your customers are.
Yep.
So, who do we want to look at? Let's look at somebody. Give me a link.
Here, I will pass one to you. Let me. Oh no, I went way too far in our Excel.
No, we have this Excel sheet with like hundreds of rows of submissions.
Yeah, there's like 700 rows currently or something, and I just like scrolled as fast as I could, and now it's like forever away. All right, hold on, I gotta find our Let's see.
Hopefully that was helpful, guys.
Pricing.
These are just things. This is the bottom
All
line.
right, let's look at
like,
Sean Stanley.
Yeah, well, look at his.
I
If
can
you
see it.
are doing something and it's working, just keep doing it. But I'm only speaking from an experience of someone who sold 600 wedding films in the last 3 years. So at a high price, probably more like, this is just like, if you don't think what I'm saying is true and it doesn't work for you, go for it. But I think I know a little bit about making compelling offerings. And I think a lot of people, maybe I could simplify all of those 3 mistakes, which is saying, keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Okay. 702. Okay, Sean Stanley, if you are in chat, I don't think you link to your pricing anywhere. And you also don't have a website on there, so I cannot do it. But we can review. Brandon is the next one.
Yeah, Brandon. Let's check out Brandon.
And guys, if you want to, where can I send this to you? Just on Zoom? Does that work?
Zoom, I would say Slack is best, but Zoom is okay.
Okay, well, I just zoomed it to you, so I'll Slack the next one. If you guys want your pricing reviewed, I don't know how many we already have submitted, but if we do have time for extra,
a good amount,
you can submit. You could probably just link us here in chat, maybe. Otherwise,
okay. So let's keep this. So I'm gonna base it on my opinion, and you can obviously do what you want with any of this stuff, but it's gonna be based on my opinion of it. And, that's always one of those things where everything is subjective when it comes to any of the arts and anything you're doing. But Bobby might have a different opinion. So, Bobby, you can, of course, hop in there with yours. So here we go. The first price is for Brandon Rice, and we have these 3 packages, which is always great. Cinematic Elegance, Luxury Love Story, Grand Romance, $2,500, $3,500, $6,000. So the first
thing,
thing,
he's piquing your interest with no gold, silver, bronze right there.
It's definitely better. $2,500, $3,500, $6,000. So that's a price progression. I think I'm gonna be looking for triple the value ish.
Yeah, I'm thinking that you're
pushing
people to the middle one here, and if that's what you want to do, great.
So, and by the way, my opinion is like, I'm looking at it, and when I see this off the bat, I think we're going to have a hard time as we build. But regardless, okay, we got the 6-hour film, professional audio. I would get rid of that.
I would too. That was going to be my first
4K
thing.
video capture. I guess I don't mind that now because I do think some people are not delivering 4K, and I have had some people ask.
Putting it there is okay in this scenario too. Although I will say, you say 4K video capture. Does that mean you're not delivering in 4K? That might be. I would
get rid of it if you're not like.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's I could go either way. Pre-wedding consultation, I would get rid of that.
I would get rid of that too.
That's not a add-on, especially because 3 to 4 minute highlight film. Like I look at it and go 6 hours of coverage, 3 to 4 minute highlight film. That's it. That's all they're getting. 8 hours of coverage, drone. So I'm just gonna look at what's different, guys, and I'm gonna skip over the
teaser. And
so you got 8 hours, drone, teaser. So that you're saying that 2 hours plus drone plus a teaser is only worth $1,000.
And an extra 2 minutes.
And an extra 2 minutes.
Highlight.
I think your pricing ladder right here is all out of whack.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I think you would actually, I think your hours are actually knocking the value down of your hours. I think if you had 10 hours on all of them, and then the person would do the math and they would only see drone and a teaser.
Yeah.
And a 2 minute film, which honestly, I'm surprised. I'm actually surprised how many filmmakers don't do their packages based on event edits. Like they're the easiest thing to make. And they're the thing that couples value. They always do it on creative edits, which are hard to make. So you're going to I don't know. I just love the way we do it. We make the same film for everything. And
I
then,
think that's the way again that I'm moving probably for 2024, or it'll probably be some weird in between that I end up doing it. But I
okay.
think I do want to take those out and then make them or distinguish collections with them. So
So we have 10 hours here. Again, we have aerial, which is different than the base package. This is your ceremony edit, your speeches and dances, your raw footage. And so I do understand the conundrum he is in, which is he doesn't have a multi-day package. Not every filmmaker has an audience of multi-day weddings.
yeah,
And so like,
I do, but it's not very public. I would say
Yeah.
it kind of gets sent out if that's the what I gather from that.
but in terms of value, when I'm looking at this, it's like, okay, it's $2,500 more for 2 more hours of coverage, ceremony, speeches, dances. So the ceremony, speeches, dances, the speeches and the dances. I have a. Well, he says, let's look at his add-ons.
Yeah, I clicked that too.
'Cause
I would one thing I haven't even looked at what these include, but I would really try to clean this up. This looks it just looks like a lot for somebody to read and understand.
which this page, the add-on?
Add-ons. Yeah.
I think it's okay. I think it should be the dollar values are getting lost in the teaser to me. I mean, or in the bullets. So, but it's not terrible. I think
Or just like visually, like I don't know, try to like cut down on how much wording is going into
so. It's
this.
$800
Put
for
some
the
boxes
ceremony
around it.
and the dance film. So he would charge someone $800 to get all their ceremonies. A little bit of a longer thing. So basically, $2,500 they could get a 3 to 4 minute film, and I'm just gonna do what a couple might do to someone. Oh, okay, 3 to 4 minute, that's fine. Oh, 6 hours, like I don't know crap about how weddings are supposed to go or what is at the beginning or end, and this seems like the least amount of coverage, and he wouldn't sell it if it wasn't enough. So I want a 3 to 4 minute film because that sounds good to me, and I want all my ceremonies. So that's $800. So instead of spending $6,000 to get all that, I'm going to spend $3,300 because I don't care about the 4 hours of coverage. I don't care about the teaser film. I don't care about the raw footage, and I don't care about those extra minutes on my edit. And so you're letting this person walk away for $2,500 less. And like the key is like you don't want them to be able to take your packages and rip them apart that much. I think there's the fact that you don't have any shared like the coverage is not shared, and the fact that the deliverable is not shared means that a person can really just go into your a la carte menu and just make decisions they're not really qualified to make. I don't think most couples know how long their film should be or how long their coverage should be, and I don't like giving them the choice.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I tend to limit their choices, I guess is what I would say.
Limit their choice to what will give them a great film. That's my opinion. And like if they, and then like
I'll straight up tell people like if they're getting an elopement, or like I just had a wedding that's not an elopement, but they didn't have a whole lot. Like they're like, we don't want to do a lot of the traditions. We just kind of want to be with their family. Like they're doing some stuff, whatever, but they definitely took some things out. And I was like, I don't know what your budget is. I don't know what you're after, but like with me, I wouldn't do more than my base collection. I wouldn't do more than a 1-song highlight. I just know I'm going to be stuffing stuff in there, So again, I think we talk about that sometimes, Jay, where we say you're the professional, and, I think you need to be in certain scenarios, and you need to tell people like, this is what you need. This is, and sometimes this is what you don't need.
Okay, let's look at one more. Solace Films. Let's check out their pricing and package. So hopefully that was a little bit helpful. I definitely can't say for sure all that stuff, but it's an investment.
703.
Is this? Am I on the right page? Did I
think
miss?
it's a HubSpot. Do you have this? Oh, it's making me sign in.
So I clicked on their website. Did they give their pricing? Solace Films. You want to
it's
slack
at the
me
end,
out?
but it's a HubSpot, but it requires you to log in.
Oh, I'm a HubSpot reseller,
okay.
so maybe I can.
Let's see.
Where is it?
Here, I'll Slack it to you one day.
Tell you is like this is. Let's see what we got here.
We can move on if that doesn't work for you.
To you guys and getting you to upgrade to them, or using them to get your these templates. I think this is not the best way to give someone a give a quote if someone says what is the price. If you're doing custom pricing, I prefer this to be on a website. So simple. So we're getting $1,000, 2 more hours of coverage.
It's hard to know what that is. Feature film, but
No, I think this is like linear. Might take that much longer to edit 3 speeches than it does to edit 1 speech, so I just don't really think you can. If you're editing those things in time, you're probably not that good.
seeing some.
Okay. Dear God, please help this lag. Amen. Did that work, guys? Now we're back. I don't know what keeps happening. Are we back? There's the sound. Can you hear me now?
Hello?
All right. We will cut this out afterwards.
No, we're leaving it in. Deal with it, people.
But if you're just watching this later, we had a serious live streaming issue. I don't know why, but it wasn't working. But now it is.
No,
so we're looking at.
I don't know what you're talking
about. Nothing went wrong. Really magic. So I think we're on we're doing live pricing reviews, and this is a Solus film. He has $1,500 package, $25, 8-hour package, one with 8 to 10 hours of coverage. A highlight film that's 4 to 5 minutes. A highlight film that's 5 to 6 minutes.
Now we're too hot. We're too hot.
I just turned it down. You guys are just hearing in the olden times. Yo, dog. What up with that, yo?
Rest in peace to your ears. Sorry.
Man, like my entire live streaming thing just reset all the settings, guys. So I apologize. I did pull the power off of it. So anyway, so I think the issue here is I'm seeing, wow, this is the worst stream ever. I'm seeing a little bit of a confusing ladder between the $1,500 and the $25 price tag.
Only 2 collections isn't really helping your cause, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah, and I apologize, guys. Like I was saying, all my audio settings that were saved just got unsaved right when I restarted the ATEM.
Maybe we need to have 15 audio decks.
No, I just
like Adam.
I just need to not have my ATEM freak out in the middle of a live stream. That would be really great. Anyway, so what would you recommend changing about this, if anything?
Yeah, I mean, this is a really tough one for me because we're not even seeing a full like structure. I would add a 3rd collection. I would.
Yeah, I think that's a big deal. I think.
Yeah. Like, it's $1,000 jump, which isn't huge, but it's also almost double, like you said earlier, which you guys probably didn't hear. And the difference is like maybe a lot, but maybe a little. Like it's. I don't know. It's tough. It's really tough. I don't think you want to leave a whole lot like up to their interpretation either. Like, what is longer linear edit? That's a problem for me, especially knowing like we're in the industry and we can't tell you what that is. Is it a feature film? Is it just ceremony and speeches?
Yeah, I think like speaking in plain language that couples understand, like saying like full ceremony. And I guess if you want to say up to 45 minutes, I wouldn't, by the way, because that means you're going to be out of Catholic weddings. You don't want to be, and it's not really a big deal to me. Like the biggest thing is I wouldn't put it in my packages if I'm not willing to do something about it. And like, if I'm like, I'm not going to be like, stop my cameras in the middle of a ceremony.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to cut only 5 minutes of their ceremony. So it doesn't really take you that much time. So I would clarify that stuff. And I think a 3rd package would be good where like, if you had like, I would probably say 8 to 10 hours of coverage on all my packages. I might do a shorter edit for my base package. And then maybe my mid package has a longer edit plus the social media. And maybe my top package includes all the linear edits.
Yeah.
Like to me,
I think it's like there's too much difference here.
Yeah.
And so having something that kind of
the value ladder is too steep, and you're just it's too hard for them to quantify how much value they're getting. So I would maybe even have this package. I think could cost $3,000, and I think you could have like a $2,200 package in the middle. I think that'd be better. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, let's look at someone else, and I think we can get through. Let's just keep moving, and we'll try to get through as much of this as we possibly can.
Instead of looking at somebody else, do you want to just crash our live stream instead? Should we do that?
Let's crash our live stream.
Yeah.
And then we can continue to be the 8th most popular wedding filmmaking educators.
This is 7:06. Okay, we're gonna go to GI Visuals. I will send it to you.
Slack. Patrick Gilmore. He's
last time I sent something in Slack, the whole thing went down.
It's all because of Slack. Yes, his wedding services. So one thing to keep in mind, I believe Patrick has a bunch of other stuff on his website. So I do think you don't love this. And I think it does matter in your packages because they think.
Wait, where are you?
I'm on his home. I just went to his homepage.
Oh, okay.
This is his wedding, but I think kind of calling it wedding services. I don't know.
This feels so like corporate and sterile.
Yeah, I think this looks so corporate and like it's gear focused, and I don't think it's bride focused. I don't think it's wedding focused. Yeah. But anyway.
But that's just a free tip.
Okay, so we definitely got to redo those names. You cannot have a package called discount coverage.
Oh yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that.
Look, I might not totally agree with Jay on the bronze, silver, gold. I get the idea. It hasn't been an issue for me to my knowledge, but I'm definitely not calling something a discount package.
Well, I get it. Coming out with these names is annoying. Like, it's not fun.
Yeah. Oh, like, yeah, I hate it, actually.
So weird. But, like, yeah, that just is like for peasant coverage is what you could call it.
Yeah.
Or it just makes your coverage sound diminished. Like, there's nothing, like, I'm never...
Like, we're going to do a worse job intentionally.
Or just, like, I don't know, I'm bad on this package. I don't know. It's weird. So, I would say change that. But either way, the nuts and bolts, too many words. I do not want to read all this to get down to 6 hours of coverage. Solo videographer will provide 6 hours of coverage. And then this is a totally different structure over here, by the way. So, let's... Okay.
I also don't like. Okay, I'm just gonna say this whole. Well, okay, we already said we don't like wedding services, like GI visuals, wedding services. I think title it something different. Collections, investments.
This is a totally different strategy.
I don't like this top paragraph. Oh, you guys can't see my cursor, but that top paragraph. I think it's just too much explaining. Like, you're just explaining at somebody. Save that stuff for.
Well, okay, so I think what is different about this, is he is selling packages of coverage. And so I think let's check out where my opinion is he should be selling that highlight film, though. He shouldn't be selling the coverage. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Like,
also, just one thing to say. So Benjamin Kelly says, I took pricing off my site and I just put a starting price. These are not necessarily public. This one might be. I think we
this
clicked
is
on
public,
it,
but not all of them
are. Like, yeah. So just so everybody knows, these aren't necessarily things you can.
They are now, though.
Yeah, we are making them public.
Your clients are like shopping you on our live stream, and then they're like, they suck. This live stream can't even stay up. If anyone watches this live stream, I will never work with them.
Yeah.
Larev's like, I'm out. So I would look at this and go, I don't like the strategy of coverage based. Like, I've said it a bunch of times. I just think you're letting them make a decision that really affects your portfolio. And so I think letting them choose between 6 hours of coverage and 8 hours of coverage isn't really providing a ton of value to you, but it is, and it's not really providing a ton of value to anyone. I would just simplify it if it was up to me. I would just say our base package. I wouldn't call it this, Bobby, but I always say, like, what is your base package? Like, if I was to say to someone, like, what is your core
within industry, we can call it that.
What is your core deliverable? Like, what is the thing that you're going to make at every wedding you shoot? Mm-hmm. I think if you don't have that, at least in some sense, I think like what's your best film? Is it a 3-minute film? What's the smallest film you're willing to sell to someone? Is it a 4-minute film? Is it a 5-minute film? To me, that should be your base package. It should be a base level of coverage to get that core deliverable. And every single thing else that's beyond that costs extra. Mm-hmm. And you put them in a package. So, like, I would say to this person, like, all right, maybe we disagree on the amount of coverage, but maybe they say, the film I make is a 6-hour film. And every time I'll make
6
a 3-minute.
hours?
Yeah.
Oh, coverage.
Yeah, 6 hours of coverage, and I make 3-minute film, and that's my base package. Right? Like, okay. Like, I think a 3-minute, I think I would up it to simplify it. I would do it 8 hours, but I would deliver a 3-minute film no matter what, and then I would give additional deliverables. Like, I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I'm like, speeches and toasts and dances are very valuable to people. Mm-hmm. And I almost never, like, see people using that as, like, the crux of their additional packages. They're always using additional time and a longer highlight film.
Yep.
And I am always like, just do the same highlight film. It doesn't really change it that much.
Yep.
Like,
all right.
Cool.
Yeah. So things that I need to say on this, there's so much text in this. You're defeating the point of bullet points.
Well, even like there's a bullet point reminding you that this number is bigger than this number.
Yeah, like you're like reiterating stuff. So just like this, one videographer, bullet point, 6 hours of coverage, bullet point, 3-minute highlight film, bullet point, some other wording that is much shorter than this, bullet point. Also, starting from 1400. Is it 1400 or is it not? What is that? Because they can do add-ons? Doesn't make sense to me. Then the other issue, again, this 2 videographers, bullet point, 8 hours coverage, bullet point. Then you're like, okay, why is this package includes a 1-minute teaser trailer, a 4 to 5 minute highlight film, and robust wedding day feature. So that's this kind of, but a different version. And then a new bullet point, the wedding day. Oh, you can't see what I'm highlighting, but
no, I'm
wedding
looking
day
at it.
Feature includes toast, cake cutting. Like it's just.
Well, is this the same as this?
Yeah.
Are these the same?
And it's a exactly. So it makes your couple think, well, wait, this isn't the exact same description. How is this one different? So you're just like you're instilling some like fear or concern.
Again, I go back to don't sell hours because this person, you're looking at this. This person, they're getting an extra videographer and 2 more hours and 1 to 2 minutes on a highlight film for 30% more.
Yep.
And
then again, it's a starting from, which is confusing. And then your third collection to make this like nice, even 3, want to push you towards the middle generally is the way people work. It's not even a collection, so it doesn't work. And it's too much reading. That's what I think.
I think it's too hard to know what is valuable to the couple.
And what these mean and things like that.
The couple, they just want videos.
Yep.
Like, that's what people want. They want, they want more videos or less videos.
Dumbed down, really, they don't know what they want or what they need.
They know
a very general, like, oh, I love your films. I want something like that.
Yeah. People just think in terms of what do I get to take home? Like, and I think a lot of people need to think of it this way. Like, if you go to a restaurant, right, and you saw the menu, and it literally just described how they made it.
Yeah.
And it didn't tell you what the food was.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, well, what am I going to get?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to get?
And then, in the second prefix menu, it described the same dish for course 2, but it was described completely differently in how it was made.
We take an extra hour. Yeah, we take an extra hour to make it.
You're like, wait, what? Is this the same thing that's over here? Or?
I think this is pretty weak. It's based on a commercial concept of coverage.
Yep.
And
I think it's ultimately hurting you, and I think changing it, revamping it will help you.
Yeah.
Let
me just give you some practical tips I think would help. I think it's fine to start with a solo and pay them more for 2. I think that's a good delineation. I think length of edit is a perfectly fine delineation in your packages. I think you need to not include this. Do not include their features. I think $1,500 for a highlight film and coverage is plenty. They don't need all that stuff. They would pay you $2,100 just for this as an add-on with no other filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
They would, because that's how much people value their dances, their toasts, all that stuff. So that's what I would do. I would get rid of these from this package, and I would only have it here. If you change nothing, but you change that one thing, I think that would be good.
Yeah. And cut down on some words. I think.
Yes, and cut down on the
understand.
words. For sure.
With that, Jay, I have to call it a day.
All right.
It's 1:30, and I've got somewhere to be.
All right, guys. Well, apologize for the breaking of our live stream.
Yeah, by bombing, that probably is going to get us banned on YouTube. By dropping knowledge bombs. That's what I meant to say. It was just too much, you know? The stream couldn't handle how much knowledge we were dropping.
Yeah. I understand.
Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it as always. We will be live, of course, next... Oh, I don't know, actually. Jay, I'm out of town next week. We will maybe be live. We'll figure it out.
But I will say this, guys, check out live stream or check out the show. We just dropped a really good episode by Andrew Abazian, and he is I think he's like a type of person who not a lot of people know, but he's incredible, and it's a great episode. And then next week we're talking about we're actually dropping an episode about timelines.
Ooh.
Managing timelines and just some
like that.
timeline mistakes people make, and we break it down into each part of the day and how we would kind of structure our timeline for the day, and how we work with couples and planners to structure the timeline in a way that makes sense. So check it out next week, the Wedding Film School Show, wherever podcasts are found and seen. And of course, we have another channel. And then the last thing I would ask them, Bobby, is hit a like today, even though we kind of screwed up that live stream. It means a lot to us.
We made up for it with some great knowledge and information. So at the end, we balanced it out. So leave us a like. We appreciate it. Consider becoming a member if you want. Usually we're doing weekly live film reviews. We only reviewed a couple today, maybe only even one. But we're usually doing more. You get some added benefits like being in a private Facebook group, also getting more of your film reviewed. So we appreciate all of our
Or just
members,
being nice to us.
Yeah, or just helping support the channel. We put a lot into all of our channels here. And trying our best to keep it as free as possible for you. We will let you all know if we'll be live next week. You'll obviously see a live video pop up on your scheduled streams, and make sure you're in our Facebook group as well, where we will let you know as well. See you all next week. Thank you so much for joining. Actually, I will not see you next week. I lied, but Jay might.
I'll if you guys want me here, I'll be here.
I'll do something.
If you want it, I'll be here. I'm here for you guys, at your service. Bye, guys.
At your service. See ya.
Sorry about that.